The electric meters in OpenPoint were designed to work with a customer billing system. So on the mapping side, you end up entering in and setting up all of your meter features like this one that I just clicked on. And then you can set up the sockets that are associated to it. So if it's a single family residence, typically you'll have a single socket for 1 meter bank like we have listed here. If you have, let's say, an apartment complex, you might have several sockets associated to that 1 meter feature on the map. So in this case, we've got a meter installed here. You can tell that because it has the socket information, which shows position 1, the location number, which is kind of the key identifier for this unique feature on the map. So it's the feature, it's also the location, it's often tied to the billing system and is associated to the customer as well. And so the electric meter itself that's installed here is the number that's next to it. And then right below that is the address associated to the customer, if that has been set up. So let me click on this record. You'll see 2 tabs down below, the socket and the customer. So the socket information is showing first. So we've got that meter number again. The installation date is then displayed directly beneath that. The location number again, and the position number again. The status description is just some additional descriptive information about the installation of that meter. The reading information is optional. A lot of times that will be blank. There's a reference document and notes fields, which are also optional and can be used for whatever purposes that you find useful, or they can just never be used if you're not interested in using those. If I click on the Customer tab, it's going to show you whatever information about the customer that we have available. It's going to have this flag option as just a way of flagging customers. The occupant type is a single family residence in this case, so you can indicate duplex, triplex, apartment complex, etc., or even commercial. The name of the customer, so we've got Ivy Kaufman. This is sample data, by the way, so this is not a real person. We've got a phone number information below that, email address, and then the physical address of the location is right below that. And so if I change any information, well, you can't change the customer information, so just to be clear, that should be coming just from your billing system. And so any updates will come through that way. And we have a mechanism for keeping that synchronized with your billing system. But if you want to change some socket information, let's say you wanted to put some text in here in the status description, always click the Save button to make sure it saves that information. So now if I click on that again, it'll show what I just typed in. There's some options here in this More menu. You can choose to remove this meter, and it'll create a removal event that will be tracked with that meter historically. You can delete the entire socket if you want, if you need to completely recreate that socket for some reason. And you can go to the meter website. So if I click on that, that will actually go into OpenPoint Web, and it will go right to that exact meter number, and it'll show any information that we happen to have about that particular meter. And we have a separate video that describes more about the OpenPoint Web features as it relates to electric meters. And then also there's the customer website. So if you go and click on that, then it will show all the customer details. So there's quite a bit of information that's available for each customer. A lot of this will depend upon what is available from your billing system, and that will determine what we're able to import. But if you come back through here onto this, you'll be able to go through this in detail and see exactly what type of information is possible here. Okay, so we've kind of looked at an electric meter that already exists, and let's go and move to a different part of the map here. I've got another meter. I'm going to go and select that one. And so notice that it doesn't have a socket associated to it, so this is all blank. I'm going to click on New Socket to show how that gets set up. And I could type in a number here. I'm going to do a search, and I've got one already set up here. So let's try to find it in the map. Let's see. This should work right here. And position again, since there isn't any others, position 1 will be great. These do need to be unique, so just use the next available number if you need to change that. So I'm going to hit the create button there, and so it created the socket. Now I'm going to click cancel. Now normally you would continue on and you would set up the electric meter, but you may be in a situation where you just need to set up the sockets. So that's going to be common in situations where you don't necessarily have the meter information yet available. Maybe not even the full customer information is available, but you want that socket with that location number set up. In those cases, just create the socket and then click cancel when the install electric meter dialog box comes up. So from there, now this menu is a little bit different. So now we have an install meter option. So later on I can install from here, or I can install from the web. Either way is fine. Or again, if you are working with a customer billing system and we can import that data, the imported data can actually indicate installations and removals as well. So what it'll do is it'll look at that customer and meter data coming in and try to associate that with an existing location number that's in your map. If it can find that and it sees that those two things weren't previously connected, it will create an installation event and make that connection for you. Also, it will check at the end of a complete import and see which ones are no longer connected to customers, and it can then do a removal at that point. So that's pretty much a kind of an overview of some of the basic functionality that is available. There are more features that are on the web as well, so you can see additional data there and see some additional functionality, and there's a separate video that goes into some of those details.